So today we're going to be learning a monologue analysis process called the Kohlhaas method. And it's named after a person, Kohlhaas, and she's still a working actor and teacher and director. She wrote a book called The Monologue Audition, a practical guide for actors. Now the book that she wrote is actually intended for working professionals, adults that are working in the theater industry. And so what I did was I read the book and I condensed it into a version for you guys. So I took all the key points out and I made it a little bit more user-friendly because you guys are at a beginning level working with monologues. She also produced a how to audition video, which is online at monologueaudition.com. She is also an actress. She was in the film House of Games and Things Changed back in the 80s. And she's still teaching, and she's a founding member of the Atlantic Theater Company. She's also a real person that we could actually contact if we wanted to. So if any of you guys have any questions about her method of monologue analysis, maybe we can contact her and get some feedback from her about our monologues and our process that we're going to use. Yes?
Do you think we could see if we can if we can see another actor that I know of and green?
We can look that up another time. Okay. All right. So to start off this process, I want you to think about the monologue that you chose. Okay, it's specific to you. So there's 30 different ones in the room. I think 2 people picked the same one, right? Is there 2? 3 people? 3 or 4 picked the same one. And I want you to think, what do I say about myself in the monologue? So as the character, do you give any description about who you are in what you're saying? And then the second is, what do I say about others? Think about if your monologue references another person or another group of people, and what do you say about them, okay? And then you're going to examine both of those things and see if there are any patterns in the way that you are treating others or in the way that you feel about yourself. And specifically, I want you to think about who is your character talking to, because monologues are a very strange beast, and they're used for auditions. So when you go to an audition and you perform a monologue, you're actually doing 2 things at once. It's one of the only times in theater that you're doing 2 things at once, because you're playing this character, right? And the second thing you're doing is you're trying to show the people that you're auditioning for who you are and all the cool things you can do. But at the same time, you're kind of like hands tied because you can't show them who you are since you're being a character, okay? So you're doing 2 things, like look at all the cool things I could do, and then also like look at me in character. So as you guys selected your monologues, I'm sure that you tried to find one that you could identify with that made sense for you. And all of you did a great job with that, with finding one that made sense for who you are and your personality. But the second thing that you need to think about is the person that you're talking to. So last week I just said you need to find a focus. You need to find a focus, pick a focal point. If it's multiple focal points, that's fine, but that you're focused. But now I want you to think, who is that you're focusing on? Okay, we had the rabbit question where I told you that your focus would be down. You need to get to a place where you can actually imagine the who. Because that invisible other person actually also invisibly gives you feedback that changes your monologue. Okay? And sometimes your character needs to take a beat when you pause and you take in feedback from the other person. So it's very helpful to rehearse your monologue with an actual physical other person, right? And see what their reactions are to what you're saying, because what your character is reacting to also needs to be in your monologue. It's very weird. It's the only time in theater that we do that. I think someone asked me about scene work at the beginning of the school year. Did anybody ask me about scene work, or why do we do monologues first? And it's funny because in scene work, you have a live breathing person that you're acting off of, right? So you give and take, you act and you react and you act and you react. But in monologues, it's like this invisible person that you just, they're giving you feedback, but you